Hello, Oracles. What is going on? Just getting set up here. Wow, what a week for Tesla this week, huh? What a week for Elon, SpaceX, Tesla's earnings, so much going on. All right, let's see. Let's take a look here. Looking at the charts, I'll bring that up in a moment. Let's take a look-sees. What's going on, Hanif? Happy Friday. What's going on, Raymond? Yeah, it's been a long week. Been a long week for a lot of people, and ready for the weekend for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, so finishing at 165. We did finish up a little bit today, which is nice. But again, you can see we've got that gap above us now. So a little bit of a gap up, which we knew was coming after the earnings. Saw that coming as soon as they dropped. And so we've got this gap that now goes up to this 169 level above us. So we've got that. And then above us, we also have 262. Below us, we've got this, again, 146, 133, 122, and then the 114 below that. So those are the gaps above and below. Most recently, there are gaps below 100. We won't discuss those yet, but that's where we're at. Now, looking at the RSI is down to 36. So again, we've talked about it before. We talked about it when we were up here. I said, the way we've been trending, we go to oversold to overbought, and now we're looking like we're heading back down to the oversold range again. So we got a lot of information from ARK. ARK has been buying. They've been buying up, and they just came out with their price target. So we'll go over that in a minute. What's going on, David? I see. Raymond, need to teach us I survived the Tesla earnings and Starship crash, which is crazy because it's like it was planned. The crash of the ship, like that's the whole thing. It was crazy. Like it was portrayed as a failure, but just the fact that it got off of the platform was a success. So getting to the second stage was, so much more successful. So it was a huge day for SpaceX, despite the fact that everybody portrayed it as negative. Well, not everybody, but many people portrayed it as negative. Let's see here. What's going on, Karav? What's going on, Dean? So looking at Dean here, how do we fix the permanent brand damage Elon Musk has done to Tesla? It really depends on who you're talking to, because quite honestly, I don't think he's done any damage. And I'm not, I'm obviously bullish on Tesla, but I'm not one of those bulls who, Elon can do no wrong. Elon obviously makes mistakes. He says it himself that he makes mistakes, but it's one of those things where, the only people who as far as I know, and am concerned with, that see it as brand damage are the ones who want to see it as brand damage. I mean, it's kind of the same with everybody else, with everything in your life. If you want to be upset by something, then you're going to be upset by it. If you don't want to be upset by it, you're not going to be. So regardless of who you're talking to and what Elon has done, the people who don't want to like Elon are always not going to like him. And they're always going to find a way to not like him. And they're going to find a way to slander him in some way. And that's my take on it. Not to say that, I mean, obviously it's true. Obviously there's some people who are upset by it, but the more people who let themselves be upset by it, the more people will be upset by it. Just like, when the stock is related to like the stock movements, when you see the whole herd buying into a stock and that you get that euphoric run, everybody's just following that. And then when it goes negative, everybody's selling. It's just more people sell because other people are selling. And they don't actually come up with they don't make their own decisions. These are a lot of people just following the herd. So, and not only that, but, permanent is, so I don't think it's the right word to use. Think about the fact that last year when, everybody was blaming Elon buying Twitter for the stock crashing, and then it doubled in price in a month. Like, nothing changed. Elon still owned Twitter. He was still making tweets. He was still pissing people off, but the stock price doubled. So why wasn't the stock continuing to crash after that? So it's whatever they want to portray him as is what's going to happen. And so as we go into the future and we've got Tesla coming out here, they're going to, solve autonomy, in my opinion. So they do this and everything else is like, if you still want to hate the guy and think that he's damaged the brand, so be it. But the way I'm looking at it, by the time we hit 2025, they're going to be the only one out there mass producing a sub $30,000 vehicle that's not a piece of crap. And that's it. So, they're going to be the ones pushing out the only EV that is affordable to the masses, that is actually worth owning. And, be upset with them all you want, but like, they're still growing. They're still doing very well. And as Elon explained about the sales, it's interest rates. We've talked about it all year. It's the macro environment that is causing this. And yes, the stock price is down, but it's also causing, sales. The sales are coming down. People literally cannot buy vehicles because the interest rates are so high. I was going to buy mine and it was like 6% interest for the loan. That's silly. And so when you tack that on top of a car that Elon already says is too expensive, it makes it even more expensive. So, they're coming down on the prices. They're eventually going to get to a point where it's affordable for everyone. And yeah, so that's my take on it. And of course, everybody has their own opinions. Nothing wrong with that. That's just the way I feel about it. You personally know people who will never buy Tesla because of his political rants. So be it. If you choosing to buy a vehicle or not purchase a vehicle is because of someone else and their political stance, I personally think that's a stupid way to make a decision. That's my opinion. Everybody is, entitled to make their own decisions for whatever reason they want. But you've got what's proven to be the safest vehicle on the road, and you want to not buy it strictly because somebody has a political rant that you don't agree with. You're not going to agree with everyone. People are going to say things that you don't agree with. And if you're not going to purchase something from them that could better your life because you don't agree with how they feel, that's stupid, in my opinion. What is going on, Sith Lord? Hey, Lang, what's going on? How's Australia? Hey, Melissa, how's it going? Out to dinner? Ooh, what'd you have for dinner? I had my my little veggie mix and some grilled chicken tonight. Very tasty. Raymond, Americans are too politically divided. I doubt if the billion Chinese see any brand damage, they will welcome Elon and May Musk receive in Shanghai. Yeah, I mean, I try my best to stay out of the politics because it is really just that. And one thing I try to reiterate to a lot of people here in the US is when everybody's like, picking sides, it's like realistically, the majority doesn't pick a side. Like how many people don't vote? Almost the majority. Like there's the only reason I think at this point where we have the majority, technically the majority actually voting is strictly because of the fact that they're kind of feel like they're obligated to. But when you've got 40% of the population not voting, 40% beats either one of the candidates. So that means that the majority of the population doesn't give a shit about either side and just wants them to stop. And that's the reality of it. What's going on, Michael? Yes. Yeah, Melissa, stock kind of recovered today. That typically happens. So usually there's the 3-day rule for those of you guys who don't know. And after earnings, there's typically the 3-day, you don't touch the stock for 3 days afterwards. Now, a couple reasons to touch the stock would be if the company beat earnings, but they sold off massively for some weird reason, that typically could end up being a buying opportunity unless there's something hidden in the fine print that a lot of people didn't see. That's typically a buying opportunity. In this case here, Tesla met expectations, but they did cut prices. And there is that concern that they may cut prices more, which means that profit margins would come down. So a sell-off you could almost say was justified. But again, if you're looking at this long term, does it really matter? In my opinion, it doesn't. I actually took a lot of the rewards that I had saved up in SoFi. So, card over in SoFi, I get 2% back on everything I spend. So all of that, I get points. And I ended up having, 200 something dollars worth of points. So I bought a full share of Tesla with it. I liked it at 165. So I bought it at that level. And now I'm just going to keep on saving the points up again. So I just decided to spend the points at that point. It was nice. Yeah, and Sunshine, here we go. Kathy Wood sees it going to 2,000 in 2027, and even their bear case is 1,400. And not everybody agrees with them. And I know I had some questions as well about the fact that they only had energy producing 3% of the revenues. For them, though, they see FSD and EVs producing significantly more. So, not to downplay energy at all. And I haven't run the numbers, so perhaps that may be a little skewed, but with energy or with FSD and EVs generating so much revenue, energy can still grow, but still be 3% of the overall revenue for them. And I know they play the FSD and they're really banking on the autonomy to come through. And that's the whole thing. If the autonomy is the big piece, and Elon said it himself, the moment autonomy is solved and people are driving around with actual robo taxis, which I'm very glad he reiterated and clarified that robotaxi is any vehicle with FSD, not a specific platform per se. It is any vehicle that has FSD is going to be a robotaxi. So you put all those on the road, as Elon said on the earnings call, the more vehicles they have on the road, that is more opportunity they have to sell FSD, any other software that they're going to have coming out to those vehicles. And that's going to be a massive revenue generator, which could potentially put us up to that $2,000 level that ARK is calling for. For me, I'd have to actually check to see. Let me dive into it quick, see if I can find it fast for you guys. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So in 2027, I have them at 1,066. So I'm below their bear case in my model. So I mean, kudos to Kathy and their team over there pushing that. And I obviously am going to say that they do a much better job, more in-depth analysis of it than I do. So if they're coming up with 2,000 in 2027, good for them. I'm all about that. Seems like the earliest we get record EPS is Q3. Yeah, most likely. And even then, thinking about what Emmett had said over on Twitter about the fact that with interest rates being up, Elon stating that, interest rates being high, people can't afford the cars. They're going to have to keep coming down on the prices of their vehicles. But eventually you hit that point where the Fed will pivot. Interest rates will come down. That will by itself naturally cause demand to go up because the cars will become more affordable because interest rates are coming down. Same holds true with the housing market or pretty much anything else you're going to be buying with credit on a large purchase. So when you have that going through, that just means that more people end up buying the vehicle. So as the Fed is coming up with interest rates, we probably have that one more hike. So May 3rd and 4th is the next FOMC meeting. So we'll probably see another 25 basis point hike at that point. And then I think we see the pause. So as Karav said, we get one more hike in Q2. If we pause at that point going into Q3, maybe that's when we start to see, the interest rates dipping down when it comes to purchasing the vehicles. And then next year we see the actual interest rates come down and demand goes up. And then as interest rates come down, Tesla comes out with a $25,000 car. That makes it even more affordable for people. Moose, evening all. Want to wish my lovely wife good luck as she's running the London Marathon on Sunday. That's awesome. Good for her. Yes, good luck to her. That's amazing. We just had the Boston Marathon here this past Monday. Marathon's not my thing. Like I do, obviously, the crazy long obstacle course races. I've done the longest I did was 37 miles. But just running on the road for 26 miles just does not appeal to me. I love the trails. I love the diversity of it. I love the obstacles that kind of break up the running. So that's my speed. But I highly respect and admire anybody who runs a marathon. I was just talking to someone this week who said his Tesla saved his life. He started to fall asleep driving. He loves his car. There it is. And now, of course, obviously, this is not something that we should be relying on, but the fact that it realistically does happen and it's being proven to happen, that's it. It's out there and it's getting better and better every single day. We have seen this with every variation, especially since version 11 came out. Everything since then has just gotten that much better. And it's an exponential growth curve, you have to remember. So when it comes to the learning, it's been learning faster and faster, and it's on this exponential growth curve. So that means that the faster it learns, the faster it's going to learn. And that's why Elon feels like this year is the year it's going to happen. I'm not going to hold my breath. But either way, I still think that, it's going to be coming before 2025 and we're going to be pretty happy. Calling it like you see it tonight. Yeah. Uh, it's weird how my job is kind of pushing me to the point where I, we'll call it, and excuse my French, it's my fuck it moments. And I was like, you know what? I don't care anymore. And if you don't like it, too bad. I'm not always going to be right. But just you kind of have to open your eyes to a lot of things. And some people are so put their blinders on. And there's a lot of people in the community that have pissed me off. There are people that I follow, like a Ross Gerber right now. He's being a little bitch. And I'm like, Ross, I'm like, dude, I love the guy. I respect him. I admire him. But, man, like, dude, just knock it off. And you can seriously tell a lot of the people who are out there who are in financial straits, for whether they're in margin or whatever reason. I was having conversations with a couple of people asking me for not financial advice, but the fact that they're in margin and they're concerned because if the stock comes down more, they're going to get called. And I'm like, well, first off, why are you in margin? Like Elon, even Elon, everybody's been talking about don't go into margin. It is not a good place to be in margin. And then people looking to get bailed out. And I'm like, then you get emotional. So just be wise with your money. And, I'll help anyone who's willing to help themselves. But if you're not willing to help yourself and you're just like looking to complain, then get out of my face. Yes, they did raise prices today. So if you guys missed it, they raised prices on the S and the X, but they are also looking to give away 3,000 or 3 years worth of free supercharging. Really, Lang, everyone has to vote for Australian citizens by law. Wow. Like how do you force everyone to go and vote over there? Like if you don't go and vote, do they come and arrest you? That's odd. And I actually don't, and I don't know enough about Australian politics. I was obviously only there for a very short time. So it's, to me, that seems like unfair to force people to vote, because that's like saying, hey, let me kick you in the left nut or the right nut, and you have to pick one. Like that doesn't seem right to me. Obviously, if you've got great candidates and you've got politics that are moving you in the right direction, then go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I have yet to see, at least here in the US, politicians who I'm actually voting for the better of the options rather than the worst of the two. Let me see. Yeah, Marty. Every other automaker is declining, but Tesla didn't hit 21% instead hit 19. Wall Street said sell, sell, sell. Yeah, and a big thing about that is I agree. Obviously Tesla is clearly proving with the numbers that they're outperforming all of the competition. But when the market has priced in, that 21 to 23% range for margins, and they miss that percentage, that automatically goes into people's valuation models. That automatically brings EPS down. That automatically brings the stock price down. That's just the nature of how Wall Street works. Sunshi, you're right. Nobody agrees until it actually happens. Then everyone says they called it all along. Although I did call it, and I'm never one to go out there and say I told you so or I called it. But the other day I had tweeted out in a comment that after I was feeling that with earnings, the market wanted to pull the stock down, and it was going to pull it down to 160. And sure enough, the day after, it came down to just over 160. So, not to say, the Oracle sometimes does get it right like an Oracle. So I called that one. Let's see what else we got here. If any of you guys are near Connecticut or heard about it, right by me, by the naval base, we have a bridge that goes on Route 95. Tanker truck got hit, exploded, fell over the edge, caught fire. It's actually literally melting the bridge. So I don't even know if that's going to ever get repaired, because it was already at a point where it needed to get repaired. Like it was constantly getting inspected like every 3 months, which is not good. And the fact that, our government was kind enough to be like, oh, we're going to put enough money out there to repair 9 bridges. Like, are you effing kidding me? 9 bridges? What the hell's wrong with you? But this one is massive and pretty significant. So that was, unfortunately the driver of the truck did die. That's not cool. And there was a house below it, and all the fuel leaked onto the house. The house caught fire. Not a pretty scene at all. And traffic is just going to be gnarly, especially in that area where it's on 95 and busy. Not good. Turns out it was because a car rear-ended that truck. So thinking about autonomy, that would have not happened. So I don't know. Obviously, human drivers and human error are still a massive reason for accidents, and that's why autonomy and pushing for it is so important. Let's see, Natalia. I guess significant stock moves upwards will be 2024. Do you think the gap around 140 will be filled? Yes. 146. I think all of the gaps down to 114 will get filled. I'm just looking at how we're coming down right now. I think we may end up hitting oversold, and then we'll come up and level off a little bit. And then I think with the Fed pause, we may see us going back up. I think we're going to fill the gap above us, just above us, the one that we just created. But I'm still at this point. I don't know if we're going to push higher to fill the 262 gap before we come down to fill 114, or which one's going to come first. Still very uncertain about that. But I do think we do end up filling the gap down below. And of course, at least over the long term, we are going to fill all gaps above us and create all new all-time highs without a doubt in my mind. That's going to happen. Just a matter of what order the gaps will get filled above and below. And as far as the timing of the stock running, it's all going to, I think, depend on, it may start like the recession, which I think is coming, may end up hitting end of this year, which I thought was going to be end of last year. So it may end up hitting end of this year. And then the Fed will do the pivot and we'll already be in that recession pulling down, but we may see some signs of coming out of it going into the election, because going into the election, of course, they're not going to want to look bad. Look at what we did to the economy. We're in a recession right now. Nobody's going to vote for them. So they're going to have to do whatever they can to make the economy look good. So yeah, we may see that more significant move upwards start at the end of 2024. Let's see. Yeah, Marty. Tesla's using the Razor model. Give away the Razor and make all your money with the blades. Yeah, Brian mentioned that the other night as well. That's exactly what they're doing. And my theory when they were starting to talk about FSD subscription-based stuff, I'm still going to hold strong to my thought that when we come to the point where autonomy is out there, you're going to have your choice to either do very much like you do with a smartphone. You can buy that smartphone outright and have that phone, or you can buy a subscription and have the monthly payments for that vehicle lumped into your autonomy subscription. So you're going to be paying for that subscription. Let's say it's $200 a month. But if you want to purchase a Tesla along with it, and do it that way, you are going to be paying, let's say, $900 a month or $1,000 a month, and you're going to be paying for the vehicle and your autonomy all together in a bundle, and it'll all come like that. So I have a feeling that's how it's going to end up playing out in the future, and very much so. So like people who now have their vehicles but maybe don't have FSD in the future could be like, oh, I do want to tack that on, $200 a month. Fantastic. I've got my FSD now. Yeah. Jay Lizard, Kathy Wood confirmed this. If you don't have the confidence to get a few shares at this price, I don't know what to say to you. Realistically, that's what it is. And of course, everybody has different mindsets. If you're playing a near-term swing strategy, which is, in my opinion, a lot riskier, more of a gambling type play, it's very uncertain. Not sure which way we're going to go. Obviously, we just saw the pullback. Options were expiring today. And after that happened, we did have a nice little run into the end of the day. Nothing major, but a little push up. So it was nice green. So we get that. So near term, very much a coin flip and a gamble, in my opinion. If you want to follow the charts, that's one way to do it, because I think you can get a good inkling. Looking right now, we may pull down a little bit further. So depending on your time horizon, maybe we pull down to that 146 gap and fill that before we end up coming back up again, because 146 would put us into that oversold range. So that's totally possible that we come down and fill that and then come back up again, and maybe wait till we hit that recession before we come down and fill the 114 gap. But if you've got a thesis that's running you out 5 to 10 years, thinking this price right now and you're uncertain about buying is, in my opinion, kind of silly. Not financial advice, but kind of silly. Julia, what's up with Tesla insurance? Yeah, they didn't talk about Tesla insurance at all on the call, but I think it's because they basically explained it all on the last call, which is Tesla insurance is not here to make Tesla money. It is to collect data for them and give their owners a better driving experience and ownership experience. Now you're going to go out there, and instead of having to go through a third party person for insurance who also uses another third party to get the repairs done, Tesla does it all in house. You have an accident, Tesla's notified immediately. You can then, they may even contact you to say, hey, we recognized you're in an accident. We found out these are the issues with your vehicle. We're going to come out and we'll fix it for you or bring it down to a service center. And then Tesla also collects that data as well. So they can say, hey, we've noticed that we've been having these problems here, or this breaks during an accident, or that breaks. What can we do to make this better so it does not break in the future for another accident? Obviously, the theory behind FSD and autonomy is that there won't be any accidents and service won't be needed. But in the meantime, they still need to take care of this. And that's their premise behind Tesla insurance, more of a data collection and ownership experience. If they sell a car with free charging, is the cost of electricity in the cogs? That's a good question. I don't know how I don't know how that works. Because obviously they're growing the supercharging network, they're trying to build that up. So I don't know. I would imagine that would work in there because somebody's obviously got to swallow the cost of the electricity. So I would imagine Tesla's putting that in there. Where they would run that in their numbers, though, I don't know. It's got to run in cogs somewhere. I just don't know what bucket it would fall in. Ross stole Tesla economist playbook and Tesla economist stole Ross's. I mean, Lee was always bullish until obviously we hit the end of last year. And, even Lee admitted, and you got to respect him for it, he admitted, hey, the stock price coming down definitely got to him emotionally. It hit a lot of people, clearly hit a lot of people at the end of last year. It was not pretty. And Ross was also one of the ones that got hit by it. And Ross now, I think Ross was always my favorite Tesla cheerleader. And it was because he's so passionate. But when he goes on the negative, his passion is also just as ugly as it was awesome. And I think that's kind of where he's at now. And again, I think Ross is still a great guy. And he's just at the moment right now showing an uglier side, in my opinion. And some people agree with him. And again, you make your own decision, but I don't know. Yeah, Marty. And it's funny because Ross has always been a big picture type of guy, but again, coming down to the financial piece of things, when it comes to Ross, he's got a fund that he has to work with. So he's working with other people's money. So he's obligated to make sure that he's taking care of these people's money. And because he is so heavily invested in Tesla, that coming down does not look good for him and it's not good for his fund. And it's difficult. So he's got to make these decisions, but him coming out and emotionally reacting to that is not beneficial really to anyone because him just coming out and bitching to try and get Tesla to change their ways to magically move the stock price, it's not realistic. The stock price isn't coming down because of Tesla. It's coming down for a lot of macro environment reasons. And if people are selling off because Elon bought Twitter or because Elon makes some political tweets that they don't like, then that's stupid investing. Like, are you investing in a company or are you investing in somebody's attitude? Because if the company is still performing well, I don't understand. That's to me, it doesn't make sense to put those two together. It's like saying that, I don't want to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I don't like marshmallows. Who gives a shit? Marshmallows aren't going to be on your damn sandwich. So who cares? Just eat your peanut butter and jelly. My concern with Kathy's $2,000 price target and robotaxi being the biggest driver of revenue is it require an act of Congress to get robotaxis rolled out. Yes and no. My feeling on this, Alex, is part of the reason why Elon wanted to buy Twitter. And, he disclosed it for a lot of other reasons for societal purposes. And I think that's the major reason behind it. But when we start looking out into 2024 and 2025, when we need to get regulations on autonomy, by having Twitter out here really doing a better job of showing the truth of what's out there, not to say it's perfect by any means, but it's doing a good job of opening a lot of people's eyes to what is really going on. I think that's going to help set him up, and he has been working with both parties, both sides of the aisle as well, to kind of set the stage for regulations around autonomy to be coming. When you start putting out a lot of videos on Twitter showing, hey, this is how safe the vehicle is, this is how safe autonomy is, this is how unsafe humans can be, it's going to really kind of put a lot of pressure on our politicians and government to say, you know what? The people are now screaming for autonomy because they don't want, their loved ones to be killed in accidents. And we have proven that autonomous vehicles are safer. It'll kind of encourage that regulation to happen sooner. And again, China may happen before we do here in the US. So that is definitely a concern for sure, is the regulation of everything. But I think that regulation is going to happen. And I think Twitter may actually help that in the long run. Yeah. Margin, very, very dangerous, Captain Dan. Absolutely. Margin. I cannot reiterate it enough. Like, it is what I find crazy about it is a lot of the people who are extremely bullish on Tesla, who are all like, whatever Elon says is right, Elon can do no wrong, are also the ones that go on margin and end up causing the stock to fall because they all get margin called at the same time, and then we get that mass crash that we saw the end of last year. So Elon is saying don't go into margin, but these people who are all like Elon can do no wrong go into margin despite the fact that Elon says not to. So I'm like, that one bites me a little bit. So margin, be very careful with margin. Yeah, and options too. Some people play options in a very conservative and safer manner. Not to say it's perfect; it's always more risky to do it. But there are some ways to do it in a more safe manner. But options with margin, you are asking for some danger. It's risk reward for sure. You can definitely get rewarded very, very handsomely if you do it well. But most people do not do well with margin and options, and yeah. Lying, they get penalized for those who didn't go vote somewhere. I mean, they basically try to play that same thing here in the US, is like, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Bullshit, I can complain. I didn't vote because I didn't want to vote for the shitty options. Like, no, I'm not going to vote. No. Like, stop giving me crappy options. We have 300 million people in this friggin' country and we have these two jamokes to choose from. Hell no. Like, that's stupid. Like, don't tell me that I can't voice my opinion just because of the fact that I didn't vote. I'm going to go vote for Mickey Mouse. It's fine. You want me to go vote? I'm going to go waste my vote on somebody who I know isn't going to win, a fictional character, because nobody else is going to come out here and actually be a good, viable option. Let's see. Clueless. Tesla will hit 148 and 122. These prices are gifts from short sellers. It's right. I mean, Clueless calls it like it is sometimes, I don't always agree with him, but not wrong. That gap at 146, I think, is going to get filled. And then 122. And my personal opinion, again, Clueless, this is just coming from the charts, looking at being oversold. 122 is possible. That would push us down to a very low oversold range, similar to where we were at the end of 2022. So not to say it's not possible. I just don't know if we would come down that far now, that fast. Possible, though. Totally possible. Jerry, yeah. Most of Wall Street cherry picks Tesla's information and just look for the negatives. They don't like the fact that Elon has disrupted several industries. Facts right there. They hold Tesla to a higher standard. It's very true. And I had mentioned it, I think maybe it was on Twitter, about the fact that, brace yourselves, because when you start feeling a short attack coming on, it was like they were kind of setting us up. And that's why I kind of had that gut feeling we were coming down to 160. Kind of saw the signs that we were going to be pushing down. And then as soon as we got the report, I'm like, brace yourselves, because we're going to start seeing a lot of FUD in the news coming out just to drive that stock price down even further. And sure enough, right after it, what did we get in the news? Well, SpaceX launched the rocket and SpaceX explodes Starship. It's like, nah, dude, that was not it. So all these headlines coming out to portray Elon and all of his companies in a negative manner. Tesla misses earnings, Tesla's cutting prices, negative Tesla is just coming out in droves right now. I'm hearing stories about issues with I guess there was a death in China for Tesla. I did not read the article. I apologize. But just reading all of these headlines shows me how much the market is being manipulated to drive that stock price down for these shorts. It's all these short attacks coming out. So, that's why near term, just don't let it phase you if you're going to be long term on this. Take it as a great buying opportunity. I know many of you aren't even looking to buy. You just want to hold and you want the stock to go up. It's awesome. Unfortunately, we're going to have to weather this macro storm before that's really going to turn around and come back up. Let's see. Robert, but with free charging, they are making money with the razor and give away the blades. That's true. A lot of times, depending on what the cost is for people, for companies, sometimes the cost is so negligible that they know that they're going to more than make up for it on the other end. So giving away some free things is totally worth it. To put it in an aspect that some people may understand, like let's say OnlyFans. So OnlyFans goes out there and people will put out videos, little clips of themselves for free that you can see because they know that that's going to enable and entice people to go over there and actually pay for their subscriptions. And they're going to more than make up for whatever free content and time they have spent to put out that free content. So that's a very similar analogy. Now the economy is in a dumpster fire. What's your take on the Cybertruck pricing? I mean, ironically, I think it's going to be great for Cybertruck pricing. So if the Cybertruck came out last year, I thought we were going to see the Plaid coming out at like 120, 130 grand. We would probably see the quad motor around $99,000, $100,000. Now we might actually see the quad motor. I don't know if the quad motor is going to be underneath the $80,000 tax credit limit, but I can almost guarantee the dual motor is going to be. I know Kathy Woods got her take on the fact that we're probably going to see the Cybertruck hitting prices and hitting that light duty truck market and really opening up the eyes to that. But yeah, that I'm curious about it myself. I still at this point think that we're going to see probably $65,000 to $70,000, probably 69. Let's go with $69,000 for the dual motor, 89,000 for the quad motor, and if they do end up doing the Plaid version, probably like 110. Yes, Karav. Sorry, I missed that. Snipe the Model Y. Very nice, Karav. I got to look at my delivery date. And again, as I was explaining to you guys, I think at this point I am going to push mine off. I mean, think about the fact that the price just came down as $3,000 lower than mine. Like, yeah, I'll push mine off, and I'm going to push mine off as a test to see how Tesla is handling it. So it'll be a $200, $250 test that I'm running, which, it stinks because I could have bought a share of Tesla with that, plus almost 2 shares at this point. But yeah, it stinks that I lost out on that, but it'll at least be good information that I can have real time for you guys. Let's see. Nicholas, Tesla Q2 EPS is estimated to be at 80 cents. How do you see these expectations? Honestly, Nicholas, I haven't gotten into those yet. I'm going to have to take a look. I think we may end up seeing kind of flat EPS. I don't know if it's going to be down. Q1 is historically not the best quarter for the year. So we may be pushing up maybe the 97-cent EPS that I had for Q1 initially. Maybe that's what we end up hitting for Q2. So I think we will be above Q1 just because they did the massive price cuts in Q1. Obviously we're just into Q2 now. They cut the prices a little bit on the Model Y, but I don't think we're going to see these 13% price cuts that we saw in Q1. So I think we're going to end up seeing, and costs will come down as well. So maybe about the same. So it may be between 85 and $1 for EPS for Q2. Would be funny if FSD cost more than the price of a Gen 3 car. Realistically, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Think about the fact that when you go to buy a cell phone, if you buy, an older model that's maybe 3 or 4 years old, or there's just that base model, sometimes they throw it in for free. That may end up being something that happens. Hey, sign yourself up for the FSD autonomy package for $500 a month, and we'll just give you the base model uh, next gen vehicle. Like that. That is totally possible. Yeah, yeah. $200 a month for FSD is too cheap. Right now, based upon where it's at, I think you're right. So I think it's going to end up being a lot more than that. And I'm actually curious. I would say either the end of this year, or beginning of next year, they're going to do away entirely with the pay for it in lump amount, and they're going to go strictly to a monthly subscription. So I think actually maybe what'll end up happening is we may end up seeing that when that next gen vehicle gets released. That may happen simultaneously. I'm gonna robotaxi out the 3,500 Cybertruck cargo bed. Won't allow it to be used for peeps. They'll ruin the interior. Yes, everybody, you can ride in the bed, but you can't ride inside. Just use it as a literal wagon. That's awesome. Just waiting for more superchargers from Magic Docks. That's right, honey. If you have, did you say you have a Kia? Was it a Kia or a Hyundai that you've got that you said you liked? Let's see. Michael Anthony. Yeah, let's see. What about Dish at a 40-year low made $1.47, which was a $1 beat, um, and did get hacked on February 28th. Fixed now. Co-founder bought from 11 to 26. Huh. I'm actually curious. Like, interesting that Dish is turning around like that. I don't know enough about him, honestly. Dish. I mean, I barely even watch TV or have time for it. I've got Disney Plus and Netflix. That's it. And even then, like it takes me like 4 days to watch a full movie just because I have so little time. Alexandra is my favorite, personal favorite these days. She has stepped up to bat for Tesla like no one can even imagine. I love Alexandra, and actually, you know what, Jay, I'm gonna reach out to her and get her back on the channel again as well. I've just been so busy with everything going on, haven't had a chance to really reach out to too many guests, and give them the proper due diligence and time that they deserve. So I will reach out to her because I love having her on the channel. Uh, Oh, Sunshi, let's see. I dropped off my Model Y Performance 17 days ago to get delivery day paint issues resolved. They said it would take a week, but I can see it's still in the body shop on the app. Yeah, that's not good. And they have mentioned it about service, and they want to improve the service. And I've always been of the mindset of, okay, you're telling me you want to improve, but where are your actions? Are they actually improving? And I've heard of some good stories from service, so it's not like it's all negative, but there's definitely issues there. So it's something that Tesla does need to work on. They know they need to work on it, but I would like them to work on it. And I know full well that some things that they're working on are, preventing like things that need to get repaired in accidents, obviously with the insurance. But like paint is not like oh, this was an accident. How do we make this better? It's like, just don't suck at your paint job. Like, make it better. Like, go inside your factory and say, what can we do to make the paint better? And that's it. So yeah, that would be something that would be nice for Tesla to work on. Clueless. I love Clueless's little hints here. The longer Tesla stays bullish, the lower it will go. It's true. And if you guys remember last year, people just holding on, bulls, 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 hold, buy, 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 and the stock is just tanking. I was one of them. I was catching that falling knife all year long, which ended up working out fine for a long term. I'm not concerned about that. To me, it's not catching a falling knife. Um, but the more people are like that, the more that the shorts are going to want to drive that stock price down, because they know eventually these people who are on margin and the people who are super bullish will find a cracking point. And the moment that happens, you start to get that downward domino effect and just pulls everything down. So just brace yourselves for potential. I actually have another shirt in my merch store, Buckle Up Buttercup, because yeah, it's going to happen. Uh, Yeah, exactly, Natalia. Elon mentioned that it's hard for many people to get a $40,000 to $50,000 car loan with 10% interest rate, even if they want a car. Yeah, some people can't even get a car because they can't get the loan because the interest rates are so high. And that's a huge problem. So it's not even that the people like don't want to buy it, they physically can't. Yeah, Marty, Florida can have robo taxis right now. It's in their state laws. And that's one thing to remember too, guys, is regulatory approval on a federal basis is something that will probably come in 2025. And that's because, of a lot of things that are going to be going on. And again, I think having Twitter out there is going to help that. But it goes right now, it's state by state. And there are many states that do have autonomy allowed. So just remember that just because, I mean, even heck, look at the fact that there's some states that don't even allow Teslas to be sold in them. So, and Tesla's still obviously doing very well with that. So the regulations is still going to be the same thing. And I think of all states, Florida, with the amount of retirees down there, I think that's going to be awesome for them because, again, they need to go out. They need to go to doctor's appointments. They need to go to the pharmacy to get their medications and things. And a lot of them don't even feel safe on the road. They don't want to be on the road, but they have to be out there. So to have this to be viable for them, I think is going to be awesome in the future. You're right, Marty. Autonomy won't stop all accidents, but will reduce from 10 to 100 or 100 to 10. Yeah, eventually, far, far down the road, probably not in any of our lifetimes, we will eventually be at a point where every vehicle on the road is fully autonomous. Then you don't have to worry about it. If there is an accident, it's going to be super, super rare. But even there, on the process to get there, the majority of the accidents we see along the way are going to be human error accidents. So the more autonomous vehicles we have on the road, theoretically, the less accidents we will have. And I have no doubt there are going to be people out there intentionally causing accidents with this. So this is something to brace yourselves for as well. When we start to get to that point where they're more on the road and they start to get regulated, there are going to be people, not going to put my tinfoil hat on, but maybe paid for by Legacy Auto to go out there and competition intentionally. A Dan O'Dowd, perhaps, going out there intentionally causing accidents to make autonomy look bad just so that people won't regulate it. That's going to happen. It's natural for people to be douchebags like that, but it's most likely going to happen. And we just have to get through that. And we will get through it, but it's going to be a rough go. Knocking out the park. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. I'm really starting to open up and just let it be. Say it like it is, because you know what? That's it. Wow, there's a lot of comments I haven't gotten to yet. You guys are awesome tonight. I love Friday nights with you guys. You guys are the best. Oh yeah. Media. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, just going through your comments here, seeing what else we got. Sunshi, we actually can fill in whoever we want on the ballot if we all agree Elon as president, he can expedite EV regulations. Yeah, but Elon is not American born, and that's unfortunately a constitutional thing that sure you could throw an amendment in there, but I don't know if anybody is ever going to do that. So you have to be born in the United States in order to be president. Let's see. What car company is most likely to be creeping up on Tesla because of price cuts? Mercedes? I mean, no. And that's the whole thing is Tesla coming down on prices. They're now shifting from that luxury automotive segment into something more affordable. And don't forget that Tesla, their average price is now lower than the average price of a vehicle being sold right now. So now, granted, there's still a lot that are higher, but the average price is below the average price of other vehicles. It's just that mass segment that we have out there of that $25,000 range is something Tesla can't touch yet, but very soon. And even the Model 3, depending on what state you live in, with all the incentives that are out there, you can get Model 3s for low 30,000s. So it's possible depending on where you live right now. Yeah, Marty, also big funds by a lot in these tumultuous times when it's they themselves who are putting out the negative articles. I say it all the time. When you see a lot of this, a lot of the times it's because these big money people are out there and they say, "Hey, we see that Tesla is moving in an awesome direction for the future. We want to buy a lot more for a lot less. So we're going to take an opportunity where Tesla, didn't smash earnings and we can potentially spin this in a negative manner to bring that stock price down so that we can buy more for less." And it's intentionally done. And Jim Cramer has proven that. He has explained exactly that's exactly how hedge funds do it. Is they will intentionally drive a stock price down for that reason to be able to buy lower prices. And that's why you've got to keep your emotions out, because these hedge funds and these big money people will intentionally move your emotions so that they will get you to, they're literally controlling your emotions to take your money. That's it. So if you are allowing your emotions to be involved in the stock market, you're basically opening up your wallet and saying, "Here, take my money because I can't control my emotions." That's it. So whenever you're into a company, make sure that you have your convictions set where it needs to be. And whatever your strategy is, follow it, monitor it, but do not let your emotions control it. Natalia, it doesn't make sense to sell FSD as a one-time buy package. Yeah, they're going to get away from that. They're doing it now just because it's still not fully there yet, but they will get away from it. It'll be subscription based for free cash flows. Absolutely. And it's going to be awesome free cash flows with that. $250 a month using FSD might actually be higher than that. 250 makes sense. And honestly, I think if they go higher than that, they may push a lot of people away. But I wonder if they're going to have, I couldn't even imagine they'd have different levels of it, but maybe there's going to be different software packages to go along with it. Similar to some things that you would see on a phone, thinking about like different levels of subscriptions you may have, that you have certain features that you may not have in other ones. Like, you'll have you have your driver assist or your full autonomy or your full autonomy with maps and everything. And it'll have memorization of all the routes that you've been on, things like that. There may just be different levels of it for FSD. Yeah, just think about how much time, money you can save. Absolutely. Getting your time back is, you're literally paying to get your time back to be productive during the times that you would normally be driving. CATL is starting to make sodium ion batteries, which are 30% cheaper than LFP. These batteries will surely be the choice for Tesla's compact car. Yeah, that's the M3P batteries, right, Marty? Just to be clear, I think that's what it is, because those are the ones that they're going to be producing in Texas, which obviously make perfect sense because you're going to have producing the batteries there. You're going to have the lithium, and I know it's not going to be lithium, but they've got the refinery there for their 4680 batteries, but then the M3P batteries are going to be there. They're going to be able to ship those right down to Mexico. Very close logistics, which is exactly what Elon wants. Just makes sense for keeping costs down. Totally makes sense. Reach out to Electric Viking. He'd be great to have on your show. Yeah, I do like him. I'll have to reach out to him. I know he's huge too. I love his show. He's such great energy, and he's such a good guy. Yeah, I'll reach out to him. He's one that I have wanted to have on here. Yes, yeah, Kia. Thank you, Hanif. Yeah, the EV6 long range. Yeah, and again, I'm out there. I think all EVs, just anybody who's going to be producing EVs that are going to be of good quality, are great. This is the direction I think the world is going, and we should be going for, a lot of different reasons. So I'm not going to knock anybody else, but if they're going to, the reasons I would knock anybody is like the Chevy situation, like, or a GM. GM comes out here and says that they're the best when clearly they're crap. So don't come out here and pound your chest like you're the best and you're just not. Kia's just coming out here and saying, "We got our thing. We're doing it. We got a vehicle. Have at it." And it's a solid one. Nicholas, yeah, like if you waste an hour, yep, waste an hour your total on the way back and forth 5 times a week, 21 times a month, that results in 11.90 an hour. Yeah, absolutely. And you do that math, and that's exactly what Tesla can tout it as and say, "Hey, you're literally saving this money in time and being productive." That's it. Michael, thank you. Come on, guys and gals, let's help Tim move on from his job and continue to share his passion with us on his channel. Thank you. That is one thing I've been looking at a lot of options. I was actually given a job offer today, which I will be mulling over because it's potentially freeing up time and paying me a lot more money than I'm making right now. Not to say I get paid poorly right now, but I was given an opportunity, so I'm going to look into that because then if I had time freed up, I could spend more time with you guys as well. But eventually, that would be something I would step away from also to be able to come out here and just share a lot. I have things I love to share between this, my health and fitness and stuff. It's just one of the things I love and have passions about in life is how to help other people make their lives even better. And anytime I can do that to help share that passion with you guys is huge. So to be able to get more time to be able to share more of that to inspire others is exactly what I'm looking for. So thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Did you see the Kevin Bacon Hyundai commercial? Did I? When that one was that was an older one, a couple of months ago, I think. Maybe I saw that. I swear I did. I don't watch a lot of TV, so if I saw it, it would have had to be something at work that maybe I caught out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, HK, exactly. I think FSD will stop all accidents when all vehicles are using it. Yeah. And again, you may have it. I mean, there's always going to be one-offs here and there, but it'll come to a point where if you see an accident, it's gonna be, "Oh my gosh, there's an accident." And there may be people out there who have been like, "I've never seen an accident before or even heard of an accident from a vehicle. This is huge news breaking, newsworthy to go and see an accident." Um, so that's yeah, that's I think what we're gonna end up seeing in the future. Felipe, tell me your price targets be affected by the recent lower prices of Tesla EVs. It might. I was looking at it. I'm still holding at my 247 right now for end of this year, but I've got to see how the Fed is going to be changing interest rates because if they're going to be pausing in June, if they go up in May and then pause in June, then I think 247 might still hold. But I've got to see how the market reacts because I also have to remember that the interest rates haven't all kicked in yet. So those still going up may end up affecting the sales. So Tesla may have to come down on prices some more. So I'm still kind of toying with that right now. So as of right now, it hasn't changed it. And long term, it stayed the same. So if anything, one of my price targets change, it may be through 2025, maybe 2026 that would change. But after that, it's basically um, going to stay the same. Let me see. Jersey Gate, what does BYD $11,000 EV impact Tesla in China and globally? I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. I'm going to try and decipher it. Let me see. Will Tesla stay the course with the Model 2 timeline 2024 for accelerated earnings 2025? As of right now, based upon what we just heard from um, the Mexican officials and Nuevo Leon, the governor there, seems like it's going to be a 12 to 15-month construction project rather than the 9-month that Tom Jew was talking about. So with 12 to 15 months, if they break ground in June, we're probably seeing production finishing sometime around next summer. So I would say conservatively, we'll say end of Q3, they will be done with production or construction, and they'll start production in Q4 of 2024. But I have no doubt because it's going to be a whole new production process. It's going to be a slow ramp, very similar to what we're going to see with the Cybertruck and very similar to what we saw in Berlin and Austin. So I don't think anybody should get excited for mass production coming out for the compact car in 2024. It'll be probably much like the Cybertruck this year. We're going to see it starting to trickle out. And then in the next year in 2025, we'll start to see that ramp up more significantly. Probably seeing volume production by the end of 2025 is my guess. And then it'll end up hitting the earnings for them in probably late 2025, early 2026. So still a long road to go. So, just, be patient. But again, as Warren Buffett says, the market is a transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. So if you're patient, you will have wealth transferred to you. Hope everyone vote on shareholder proposal. Easy to do once your broker send you their control number up by mail. Yeah, did everybody do their voting? Because we've got the shareholder meeting coming up May. Oh gosh, I got to check. May 17th. Is that when it is? It's mid-May. I know that. I'll double check the date for you guys because I'm going to try to make sure I'm off to do a live stream for that. Clueless. How wouldn't you call me Whiskers? Have you ever heard the saying the stock is climbing the wall of worry? No, I haven't. No, I do not know what it means because I have not had it. The stock is climbing the wall of worry. Yeah. The only thing I can take from that and tell me if I'm wrong is the stock is climbing because it's falling and people are afraid it's falling. So they're trying to buy more to drive it back up. Maybe I'm wrong, but please clarify. Oh yeah, HK 1427 still very bullish. Absolutely. Yeah, my ASX lithium stocks are at the bottom. Yeah, I've got SLI for lithium, and I got to admit, one of the mistakes I made when it came to lithium stocks was forgetting supply and demand. And when it comes to commodity type things like that, that plays a massive, massive role. So when you got supply and demand, and now you have this massive supply of lithium, but the demand isn't there because production is down, the sales are down for just the entire global automotive market, that demand being down is going to drive down the price of the stock and drive down the price of lithium. That's why, the price of lithium has come down significantly, but it was super hot during COVID. That's why those lithium stocks were so high. So I bought SLI at higher prices. I'm now down about 50% on it. It happens. I don't have a lot of money in it, so I'm not horribly concerned. And I think it's going to end up balancing out eventually. Um, but yeah, it happens. Nicholas, is this a picture of the beautiful nature of Mexico in your background screen behind you? That's actually that is Vietnam. Ezer over on Twitter had put out a video of it, and I loved it. I love waterfalls. I love traveling the world. I love seeing beautiful places. So I decided today was I wanted to put that up there. So that is North Vietnam. That's on the Vietnam China border. Um, Melissa, yeah, we're gonna know each other very well by 2025. We really are. And eventually I'll get to some of these places when I'm traveling. I'll be able to meet you guys in person and we'll actually have real conversations that I've met a few of you, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome being able to meet up with you guys and just meeting new friends on here with the same passions is awesome. Um, so yeah, it'll be great. We're gonna know each other very, very well. Let's see. Market makers move a stock up on low volume. The wall of worry keeps the buyers out of the stock until the market makers have it positioned to dump on the public. This is how the market works. Great way to break it down. And this is a very good lesson. And that is, I love how you explain that. And that's absolutely right. Um, and that's why, like you see, pay attention to the volumes. Like if a stock is moving up on high volume, that's a good sign. If the stock is moving up on low volume, be cautious. If the stock is moving and vice versa. So if the stock is moving down on high volume, be cautious. If the stock is moving down on low volume, just kind of pay attention because that may be an intentional dropping of the price to do a bull fake or a bear fake in the other direction. So thank you, Clueless. I appreciate that. Hanif, anxiously awaiting to get the compact car for your wife. Nice. Saving up for it now. It's kind of where I'm at. I may end up getting that compact car for my son before I end up getting myself a Tesla. He is my priority over myself. And if I have the option to get him one to have him be safer, then I will absolutely be doing that. Nicholas, what happened to Giga Indonesia? I swear to God, I thought this was going to be something announced in 2023. 2023 isn't over yet. And I do think we are still, I believe, going to be seeing and hearing about another factory being announced. I do think it's going to be in the Asia Pacific region. Personally, I think it's going to be Indonesia as well. So I do think we hear about it. Maybe we hear about it in Q3. So maybe sometime this summer, July, August, we'll hear about it. Um, or hey, maybe at the annual shareholder meeting we hear about it. Yeah. Lithium price is down 60%, still going south. It's not bad though. So it's like it stinks because if you own the stock, you're down a lot on that stock, but it's great for Tesla and EV makers because that means the cost of lithium is down. Obviously, lots of other costs that go into it as well, but that's one cost that's down significantly. So that's going to lower the cost of production. Tell me you pass Niagara Falls on your way to Banff on Canada when you're on your cyber van. I mean, I certainly can. I love Niagara Falls. I've been there a few times. So I was there with the last time I was there was with my son a couple years ago, and yeah, I may very well. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do it because I also want to go visit Arizona, the Rockies here, go up the entire West Coast. So maybe one way or the other. I'll either go through um, Niagara Falls on my way there or on my way back. Either way, I will definitely pass through there. Uh, Raymond. I diverted some Tesla stock money to buy a natural gas stock that yield 10% dividend currently. Am I off the rail on Elon mission? I mean, nothing wrong with natural gas either. And as much as I'm bullish on Tesla, you've always got to do what's best for you and your own personal portfolio. And if you feel that Tesla may be trading sideways for the next couple of years, which I think it might, if you feel like that's something that's going to happen and you can put your money elsewhere, something like I was explaining to a lot of people, which is I have a swing trade account and I have some other things, or just some swing trade money in my account. And if I can make some extra money on that and I can make better money there to be able to invest into Tesla, then I'm going to do that because if the stock price is going to stay between 150 and $250 for 2 years, then I'm not going to make any money with Tesla itself. But if I can make and double my money elsewhere and still have the same stock price to be able to invest in Tesla in 2 years from now, then yeah, I'll put my money elsewhere to make that more money to be able to invest even more into Tesla. That's just my view on it. Um, and obviously anything can happen, but that's how I'm looking at it. So that's why I do have some high yield dividends. I do have TSLY. Somebody had pointed that out to me. Massive dividends, high risk for sure. Um, but like the dividends are insane at like 60% dividends. But be very cautious with it, of course. So, I'm putting some money there, but very little just to see how it works because I've never done it before. So I'll be able to explain that to you guys as we go. Jerry, don't listen to Kathy when she was pushing Coinbase when it was 340. Now it's at 60. You're not wrong, but she was also right about Tesla and she was right about a couple other things. And with Coinbase, it may come back. Cryptocurrency, I think, is going to be something massive in the future. So despite it being at 60 now, it could be something that does come back. I don't know. To me, Coinbase isn't the same as Tesla by any means. Coinbase is a financial trading platform versus Tesla, which is producing actual vehicles that people are buying. So two kind of different aspects, but not everybody gets it right. And she was definitely wrong on that one, at least in the near term. But she's also a long-term player when it comes to higher risk stocks like that and tech stocks. Will Apple Car flop? Apple Car won't happen. At this point here, what's going to end up happening is Apple will be creating either software or maybe they're working on autonomy as well. I do know from sources I cannot disclose that they are working on sound systems for vehicles. So that's something that we will see from Apple, but I don't think Apple will actually have their own car. And if they do, it'll be a very niche market. Oh yeah, Melissa, I will be sharing my road trip. This is one of the things like whenever I go on my hikes, if you guys follow my other channel, Oracle Health and Fitness, I will be putting anytime I go on a hike, I put all the videos on there as well. So you guys can see all that stuff in nature. So I always share that there. So I will absolutely be doing that. Plus I'll be doing videos for you guys from where I'm at on here talking about Tesla as well. Yep, price of energy slated to go through the roof. Hold it, you'll be rich. Yep, energy is very strong. Yes. Oracle Tours brought to you by Oracle Tim and X Corp. That's one of the things too, is like if they actually have an RV, I'll take little RV tours. And heck, if I have a cyber van that's a robo taxi, I will have a cyber van robo fleet, the Oracle robo fleet for you guys. And you guys can go and rent it, and all subscribers will get discounts to be able to rent these. It'll be awesome. Let's see. Best dividend ETF is Schwab US Equity Dividend, hands down. What are they paying out, Nicholas? Just curious. Because the ones that I have right now, other than TSLY, all of my ETF dividends are paying between 12 and 16%. Yep, exactly, Melissa. Totally agree with you. I managed to swing 14,000 in profits this year, one individual, two retirement, one HSA. They gave me 14,000 to buy more stock now. That's it. And again, it's always risky to buy and sell or anything like that. So you've got to, pay attention to what you're doing and do your own due diligence. But yeah, that's for me, that's it. If you can make some money elsewhere, if Tesla's coming down and I have an opportunity to buy the stock for lower, this is why I have that cash buildup that I have. If we drop below 150, I'm going to increase my daily ads. Right now I'm at 20, I'll increase it to 25. So when that ends up happening, that means I'm going to add more, but I still have that cash on the side to be able to dump more in. And it's just buying more for less. It's about how many shares you have. This whole time right now is going to be all about accumulating shares. Tim, any comments on Twitter possibly suing Microsoft on illegal use of Twitter data to train ChatGPT Bing? I have not heard that. So I cannot comment on it just because I don't have enough information on it. I didn't even know that was even happening. Yeah, I will have to look into that. I'm on Twitter all the time. I didn't hear about that at all. So I will definitely look into that. Ian, good evening. Tim, looks like your team Arsenal are cracking up. Yeah, I haven't actually. My son hasn't mentioned anything about them to me because usually he's the one who talks about it. But baseball season started here, so he's been much more into baseball. But I will definitely check my app because he did get me the app that shows it. So I got to see what's going on. See there. But we've been watching baseball recently. Honey, if, Tim, when you do your road trip, will you have any meet and greets? Absolutely. When I go out on my road trip, I will map it out and I'll let you guys know where I'm going to be to let you guys know if I'm going to be in your area. And some of you guys have already spoken to, so I'm already like planning on going to your area specifically to see you guys. So yes, absolutely. When that happens, may not happen for a year or so, but when I do end up going on my tour, I will absolutely reach out to you guys and let you know where I'm at. We will do meet and greets. We will have a good time. Yeah, it'll be awesome. Let's see. Oh, okay. It's paying 3% at the moment, but 15% growth rate over 5 years. Yeah, that's the important thing too. 11.6% stock performance. Yeah. So one of the things to pay attention to whenever you guys are doing any dividend ETFs is look at the performance as well, because even if you're making good amounts in your dividend, if the stock performance itself is coming down, then you're going to end up losing money. So I actually created a spreadsheet, and I'm hopefully going to have it finalized this weekend to be able to share it with all of my members and patrons. And that is all of my dividend stocks and how much I have made in those dividends, and then how much I have gained or lost based upon the share price itself moving up or down. Because if you lose more in the share price than you gain in dividends, is it even worth having? But then you look long term, and if it is going to rebound as we come out of this macroeconomic disaster we're in, if we do end up coming out of that and the stock price comes back up, now you've bought a lot more of these shares for lower. You get paid more on the dividends because you have more shares, and then the ETF will appreciate as well. So a couple of different factors go into it. So I personally don't buy stocks themselves or companies strictly based on dividends, but some ETFs I do because they pay such high dividends. But again, I still pay attention to what their performance is. My son does not have a brokerage account yet. I kind of have one for him. I have an account on public for him, so I've got that there. But that that's not his. He doesn't have one yet. So I may try to figure out how to just roll that right into his name when he turns 18. But yeah, nothing for him specifically yet. I've been trying to teach him how to do some of the things on there. For him right now, he's just good with me putting it in, and I dollar cost average for him. I've been trying to teach him to say, hey, you give me, $5 a month or something. But he's got a job that he's starting up on the middle of June. So when he starts his job, I will see I don't even know how much he's making, but whatever it is, I'll try to work it out with him to teach him how to pay his bills, make sure he's good with his finances, and we'll do that. Ian, does your road trip to go to England? Would be great to meet you. Well, I wish I could drive a cyber van all the way over there, which I theoretically can if I go across Alaska and go through Russia, but I won't do that. However, I do plan on traveling the world as well. So yes, I do plan on going to England. I have never been there. I do want to go to the Guinness factory over there. Obviously not England, but I do want to go over there, visit a lot of places. So yes, Europe. There's a lot of places in Australia. When I go back there, I'll be able to visit you guys in Australia. that is on my list, is definitely to get over to Europe. I've actually the only place in Europe I've been, Scandinavia, been to Norway, Sweden, and Iceland. I've never been to, like, I guess what you if you would consider it like mainland Europe. I've never been there. For the meet and greets, you will sign might be a good human hoodie. Absolutely. Actually, I got to reach out to my marketing manager. I apologize. He just reached out to me. Well, his the girl who does all the designs for me, who's awesome. This girl named Hannah, phenomenal. Um, she just reached out to me this week, so I know she's working on it. So as soon as I have that up, there's a couple other ones that I came up with as well. So once she has those finalized, I will have one on order and show you guys what we come up with. Tim, with your interest in baseball, do you foresee being a cricket fan too? If so, how about watching paint dry? Yeah, my son and I were talking about that. It's like if you are not a an avid fan of the sport of baseball and actually being a student of the sport, it can be boring. And that's one of the reasons why they, kind of tried to do what they could to speed up the game. So cricket, not so much. I don't know if enough about it, and obviously we don't have it here in the US for me to pay attention to it. But yeah, that's not my thing. But yeah, it's like I was talking to my kid. I'm like, yeah, baseball is like one step above golf in its boringness. And I play baseball my whole life, so I love it. I understand how the sport's played. I can know all the fine nuances of the game, so it's great for me. But for some people who aren't huge fans and they're just like, the hell am I watching? It's like, meh, not a huge deal. Jersey guy, thank you for clarifying. Okay, China auto market manufacturer BYD announced an $11,000 EV recently for the Chinese market and possibly Europe. Does this impact Tesla's strategy in the competitive Chinese market? $11,000 EV? I'd have to see this. I'm not sure. Like, is it an actual like real EV? I mean, that's super super cheap. Like that's less than even the cheapest ICE vehicles that are out there. So I'd have to do a little more research on that to find out. Um, but any other company out there coming out with a viable lower priced vehicle, of course, is going to it's not going to impact Tesla's strategy. Their strategy is what it is. They are going to be coming out with that compact car. They're coming out with a $25,000 car. That's not a question, and we know when it's coming out. So they're already in the progress of making that happen. So I don't think this is going to change their strategy at all, but I'm really curious as to that actual price. That's super low. Uh, Top holdings. Oh, what you got? Let's see. AbbVie, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Merck, Chevron, Home Depot, Amgen, Texas Instrument. Wow, it's just a lot of solid S&P, BlackRock. Yep. Yeah. Can't. I mean, that's a very diverse and solid portfolio. I can't argue with that at all. Which ETFs are best for dividend investing? Please suggest a few. The ones that I have right now, I have JEPI, JEPQ, QILD. I had for a while. I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good one, but it's very similar to JEPQ. I've got SVOL. That is the treasury one, but I'm not sure about that because with all the talks of the dollar crashing, that may not pan out all that well. I'll see. I don't have a lot in that one, so I'm not horribly concerned. Um, but those are the ones that I have. So I've been very happy with them. I'm up on JEPI and JEPQ, and they pay out great dividends, and they pay monthly. So still things that I monitor. So if anything goes sideways, I'll get out of them. But yeah, those are the ones that I've got right now. Yep. Be good human shirts are on the way. Definitely in the works, making it happen. And if you guys follow me on my other social media platforms, every day I post a different one that I have currently in the merch store. And once those come up, I'll have mine and I'll share it with you guys. Like I said, Schwab because it has a pretty good dividend yield. Yeah, crazy high dividend growth rate and crazy performance. Yeah, and over the last 12 years, and one of the things I pay attention to, but try not to dive in too far with, like, the last 12 years was a straight bull run. So almost everything did well, but to be outperforming the S&P 500 is good. So if anybody was in just the SPY, then it would have been better to be in that Schwab one. So there's a lot of good places to be. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys are in the UK, definitely check out Brian. He's gonna be, Brian from My Tesla Weekend. He's gonna be going to fully charged, um yeah, maybe Oracle Tim next year, fully charged live. If I can pull it off, absolutely. I'll go there. It's awesome that Brian's going. And you know what? That's the year. Ooh, hmm. My son graduates high school next year, so perhaps I will take him with me, just like Brian is doing for his children. That's a great idea, honey. Thank you. Let's see. Is it roadworthy in all countries, though? Yeah, that's a question. Oh, it's an hour 20 minutes. I'm going to be getting off of here in a minute, just because I have to get to bed because I got to get up early tomorrow. I got a crazy busy weekend this weekend, so I don't think I'm going to have a video out for you guys this weekend. I ended up having to cancel my. I was going to be staying over in New Hampshire for my son's got two soccer games. The first one tomorrow is 2 hours away. The one on Sunday is 2.5 hours away, but they're relatively close to each other. And I was going to go hiking in New Hampshire on Sunday morning, but the weather's going to be horrible on Sunday. So I canceled that. So I'm going to end up doing all the driving. So again, wishing I had FSD that was actually fully autonomous. That's what, 9 hours of driving I'm going to be doing this weekend. Man, that's going to be a lot of driving that I could be very productive with. So unfortunately, I will be driving and not be able to make videos. But if the game on Sunday gets canceled, then there's a chance. But how come JEPI is such a high yield? So a lot of these dividends, these ETFs, and definitely look into them. A lot of them are options ETFs. That's why they pay such high dividends. So that's why the yield is so high, is because they're an option one. Yeah, covered calls, exactly. They do covered calls. TSLY does a covered call one also, and that's super, super high. So very risky, but the dividends are high. Oh, SCHD, yeah. I meant to look into that one before. I think I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. Did I not buy it? I can't remember. I know I looked into that one. So Nicholas, thank you. That's my reminder. I'll take a look at it again. Yeah, and maybe it was you that had mentioned it before. I know somebody had mentioned it once before for me. Let's see. All right, folks, that is it for me. It is getting late. It's pushing 8 o'clock here, and I've got to go get blood work in the morning as well before I go on all of this. So nothing big, just my normal physical, which I haven't had blood work in 8 years. So it's just time for me to see what's going on. But that is also, you guys are awesome as always. Once I get this merch out for the Be a Good Human, I will share it with you guys. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and we'll see you later.